Keeping your bike sparkling clean is the single best thing that you can do for your bike's performance, longevity, and even for your own enjoyment of actually riding your bike. But if you're anything like me, it can be hard to muster up that motivation of trying to get into every single nook and cranny and to re-lube your bike in order to keep it in that pristine condition that makes it so darn fun to ride. That's where bike cleaners come in. Today I'm going to be testing out the Park Tool chain cleaner and this Finish Line bike specific cleaner to see whether it's worth your hard-earned money and whether it actually makes cleaning your bike more enjoyable and easier so you'll actually do it. By the way, Park Tool and Finish Line aren't sponsoring this video at all. I bought this stuff with my own money because I really need to get to cleaning my bike a lot more often. And if you're interested in the stuff that we're testing out here today, feel free to check that out, linked in the description. And speaking of super clean bikes, this video is sponsored by Wabi Cycles. Every one of Wabi's design choices are meticulously made to give the purest ride quality for the money. And Wabi executes those choices perfectly with their bikes handmade by master craftsmen in Taiwan, and a friendly bike shop in Denver, Colorado that's eager to answer your questions and get you on a bike you'll love. Wabi's relentless attention to detail results in Wallace, my 58cm Wabi Special, weighing in at a grand total of 17.5 pounds straight out of the box. That's well under 20 pounds for a stock bike with completely steel, lugged frame set, and no carbon components. And that weight isn't just for quoting and impressing other cyclists though. It results in the best riding experience that I've ever had with a snappy and lively ride quality that only top tier steel can bring. That pure fun makes it easy for me to ride my Wabi Special as my only bike. If you're looking for a bike that puts an end to your search for the perfect bike, consider checking out Wabi Cycles, linked at the top of the description. Super quick, according to my YouTube stats, about 58% of you watching this video right now aren't actually subscribed to the channel. So if you find that you like this video and find it helpful and useful, feel free, do yourself a favor and hit that red subscribe button below and the bell notification so you can watch more fixed gear and cycling videos just like this one. I ride my bike about 100 miles a week, which means I should be cleaning and maintaining it, especially the drivetrain, at the very least twice a month. But as it turns out, I'm pretty lazy when it comes to maintaining my bike. That's why I ride a fixed gear. In practice, I end up actually giving my bike a proper cleaning about once every 3-4 months. It's January now. I have not cleaned it since I think mid-October. It's caked in a lot of tree gunk from fall and a lot of road grits from riding in the rain, and it's greasier than a Smash Bros tournament. To keep my drivetrain clean, in the event that I do clean it, I normally just use regular old degreaser and a rag. Sometimes I'll use a toothbrush to really get in between the links, but most times it's just a rag, and if it's particularly bad and I didn't clean it in about 6 months, then I'll just take off the entire chain and dunk it in said degreaser overnight. And while that method isn't great, it's certainly pretty good and efficient. But this Park Tool chain cleaner looks like it has a lot more brushes that rotate nonetheless and gets every single angle of the chain, hopefully, and it even has a fancy magnetic strip at the bottom to pull out any debris that wears off. Is this supposed to be this chunky? Yeah, this doesn't feel right. Right now it's looking like the milk that your mom bought from Costco and forgot it was in the back of the fridge and found it 6 months later. I'm just gonna keep following the instructions and get it to the fill line, if it'll even come out of the bottle. Now that is filled up with some chunky chain cleaner, just snap this thing on, hold the handle, and away we go. Ooh. This is not nearly as easy as they make it look in the instructional video. Especially on a fixed gear. Oh, it's getting in the spokes. How is this better than a toothbrush? By the way, this contraption is $36, I want to say. It ain't cheap. The alternative of using a toothbrush is practically free, if not just free. I would hope that you have old toothbrushes lying around because you're supposed to replace those every 6 months. Because of the angle that I'm working at, because I don't have a fancy $200 Park Tool bike stand, all of the chain cleaner just plops right out and looks like some cottage cheese on the ground. And it's also made my bike dirtier overall. A lot of it got on my rear wheel. What a bloody mess this is. Getting all those angles on the chain with those different brushes. It's still leaking everywhere. This is the best angle that I can get. Alright, once you get the hang of it, once you get a decent angle, it seems to be pretty efficient. Now I've done about 100 chain rotations of that bike chain cleaning contraption, and I must say that it has really surpassed my expectations for how awful a bike tool can be. And at this point I won't even call it a tool, because when you say tool, the expectation is that it's going to make the job easier and more efficient and hopefully even more enjoyable. And that bike chain cleaning contraption did the exact opposite. It made it less efficient, it made a big mess. Although the chain, I must say, is pretty dang sparkling clean from just about every angle, the rest of my bike and the rest of my workspace is completely covered in chain gunk from the leakage of the thing. Needless to say, don't buy it! But this kit also came with a handy-dandy flat brush to hopefully get into the harder to reach places in the drivetrain. One of the hardest places to reach is behind your cog or cassette, if that's your jam. And it does seem to be getting in there decently fine. I must say though that this brush is doing a pretty decent job of getting all the grime off of the teeth of the cog and the chainring, but it benefits from these super stiff bristles, so it is slightly better than a toothbrush in that regard. And the fact that it can get behind the teeth on the crank arm is a welcomed benefit. So this brush is a way better tool. This add-on accessory, this thing that they just threw into the box in that chain cleaning kit to make it seem like it's worth the $36, is actually just a much better tool than the thing that you're actually buying. Luckily, that chain cleaner was such a disaster that it made my bike dirty enough to really put this next bike cleaner to the test. This is Finish Line's Super Bike Wash, and some other brands also make bike-specific cleaners. I have never used one of these because it's like, soap is soap, right? Like, what makes it better for a bike as opposed to better for a car or better for my dishes? And usually, I just use dish soap and warm water, and it does a pretty decent job. I will say, though, that it does leave some residue behind, and it leaves the finish looking a bit dull on the bike. This supposedly leaves a nice sheen on the bike, doesn't hurt anodized finishes, and is safe to use on a bunch of different surfaces on the bike. The metals, carbon, paints, and even the rubber of the tires. This big bottle was $13, and hopefully it leaves my bike looking really fly afterwards. This is supposedly great for lazy people because all you have to do is spray it on, let it foam up, and then wipe it off. And it'll supposedly cut through all the grease, grime, and tree gunk that has accumulated over many rides through the fall and winter. It's only been about 2 minutes of letting the cleaner do its thing and foam up, and it's already I can see it returning my crankset to its former glory. Somehow, it just makes the anodization look a little more saturated and a bit more out of the box and shiny new. Okay, that is pretty legit, not gonna lie. All of that caked on stuff is just now coming off. Yo, that's nice. That's looking real nice. I don't know what witchcraft that they put into that cleaner bottle, but I am really digging it. My bike, it's so bizarre. You spray it on, wait a couple minutes, and then you wipe it off, and everything just comes off. Apparently, there's just this light residue covering everything on my bike that I had no idea was there. Now that I'm wiping everything off, it's so weird. I'm not sure if you could see it on camera, but it looks like somebody turned up the saturation on my bike by like 15%. It just looks cleaner, newer, more vibrant. For $13, this is legitimately one of the best bike purchases I have made. Somehow, it cleans and leaves a nice polish and sheen on it. I don't know how it works, but I like it. And at the very least, I could say that this Finish Line Super Bike Wash is 100% worth your hard-earned money. And that's the thing about having a bike that's nice and sparkly clean. Not only is it good for the bike, not only does it make it more fun to ride, but psychologically, it just makes it a lot more exciting to ride knowing that you're riding a bike that looks really damn good. And the bike cleaner totally helps with that. Let me know your experience with bike cleaners in the comments below and whether you think they're worth your money or not. And Fixie famous shoutouts to Stand Strong 108, Ryan Witt, Julian Corona, Eric Avalo, Gio Dezera, and Zane Kolnick for helping to make these cycling and fixed gear videos possible through the support on Patreon. But life is short, but don't make it shorter. So ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous, even if you did just clean it and it's about to rain.